Beyonce, what the We're the enemy? Did we come to your country to bother y'all? We're not the ones that jumped on some ships and crossed the whole ocean to go kidnap y'all and bring you back in chains. That wasn't us. We're not the ones that slaved y'all out for 400 years. We were the ones standing next to you while they were slaving y'all out. That was the most tone-deaf shit I've ever seen from a celebrity, especially somebody like you. But I'm glad that now we see you for who you really are, and we see everything for what it really is. You said what you said, you did what you did, now stand on that shit.
Welcome on another episode, you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and thank you guys for your support. I see them and I do not take it for granted at all. Beyonce's recent fashion choice, a shirt that has the Buffalo Soldiers boldly printed on it and a reference to Native Americans as the enemy of peace, is still causing a very serious conversation. The conversation is so serious that I feel like it's even causing a lot of division in the Black community. There are so many Native Americans online angry, rage at the fact that Beyonce referred to them as the enemy of peace. There is one particular woman, a Native American woman, who had made a video, using the B word and talking about how they weren't the one who jumped on the ships to go to, Africa and go bring them to the country in chains. Like, why is she referring to them as the enemy of peace? A lot of people are calling out the anti-Blackness, like in this lady's tone, and our video has been going viral and even sparking more conversation. I have put together all of this. So without wasting much time, let's just get into it.
Did we come to your fucking country to bother y'all?
No. And what country are we talking about? Because there's plenty of countries in Africa, which is a continent. And we can't sit here and ignore like there weren't tribes fighting to keep black people in chains. For example, Choctaw, Seminole, Chickasaw, and you also have Creek. Last but not least, one of my favorites to talk about when it comes to white tea people claiming to be indigenous or Pretendians claiming to be indigenous, or just when it comes to intermixing with white tea people and inbreeding with white tea people in general, Cherokee. Also, where did Buffalo Soldiers get their name from? Ding ding, Native Americans. The Cheyenne tribe, to be a little more specific. And in no way, shape, or form is this video intended to enable or cater to the derogatory term that was made towards natives. But this video is intended to point out how people will ignore and dismiss, minimize, and disregard the historical context in which how events occurred. To also shed light on how most of these talking points are rooted in anti-blackness, colorism, and xenophobia.
To your fucking country to bother y'all.
You know how you could tell that these people are not the original people of the land? Because the original people of the land knew how to form. They have their own land and don't know how to form. They don't know how to form. So that lets you know that they're not the original people of the land. The original people of the land knew how to form. That's why the black people was enslaved. Because we actually knew how to form. And we didn't know how to form in Africa. We was forming in America before any of y'all came. So all of this trying to make us feel bad about our culture. Oh, the Buffalo Soldiers, they genocide. The Native Americans, so-called Native Americans, had slaves. When y'all going to talk about that part? Y'all had slaves. Y'all was forced to free your slaves. Right? 9/10 of the possession is the law. Either y'all sold your country or you fought and you lost. So get over it already. Stop coming after Beyonce because she represents the Buffalo Soldiers. Y'all represent the 5%, the Trail of Tears. Y'all cry about the Trail of Tears. But you know who was really crying on the Trail of Tears? The black people that y'all had as slaves. You know, after the Emancipation Proclamation, y'all didn't free your slaves. It took a treaty. The U.S. government had to pass the 13th Amendment, and y'all still didn't follow that. It took the U.S. government breaking a treaty with y'all to free the African slaves. So you have the Native Americans trying to be all innocent and play victims, when y'all owe us reparations too. So if you really, really want to think about it, Native Americans owe black people reparations. So why don't y'all get together and give us our reparations, and that'll make you better than the white man. Until then, you're in the same boat as the white man. You have no right to talk about the Buffalo Soldiers until y'all give us reparations. I mean, y'all got casinos, y'all got land. The government gave y'all billions of dollars. They ain't give us nothing. You kick black people out of your tribe so you can keep the billions of dollars. Half of y'all are $5 Indians because your white people who pay $5 to get on the Indian roll so you can get land and everything else. The other half of you are Spaniards who claim to be Indian. You're really Mexicans. You're Latinos, but you claim to be Indians. And every picture that we have of Indians, they look like me.
The people in my comment section is trying to say that Native Americans owned slaves, so they justify what the Buffalo Soldiers did. Y'all sound just like white people when they try to excuse how bad slavery was by saying, oh, black people sold us the slaves. They owned slaves too. Despite black people owning slaves and Native Americans owning slaves being a small population, the bulk of the blame dialectically comes from the white capitalist superstructure that propagated this system. Because as a Marxist, we understand that ideas come from the bottom up, from material conditions. And in Africa, white people created the conditions where it destabilized their entire fucking countries. And yes, they fucking sold slaves. And Native Americans who grew up, who had to live with settler colonialism, also tried to adopt and assimilate to that system as well because of white capitalists. I can on one hand say that this was bad for them to do, but while also on the other hand understanding that these ideas came from the structure of society that they lived under. And understand that none of this shit should be celebrated or we should be proud of at all. Beyonce in her statement called them accomplishments and called Native Americans enemies of peace. Whether it was her words or someone else's, she put it on her fucking shirt and put it on her fucking website for it to be promoted. She's trying to make black people proud of Western imperialism.
Morning, Native TikTok. If you got a hold of what Beyonce said, because I was tagged my main account, as I said there, y'all are not enemies of peace. Don't let that get you fucked up. Don't let it fuck up your weekend, and don't let it get you down. She ain't even happy in her own motherfucking marriage. She is deemed one of the most beautiful black women in America, and that motherfucker still cheated on her. It is trendy right now to attack indigenous communities. And she hopped on the bandwagon. Baby, don't let that get y'all fucked up. Y'all are lit. Y'all support the black and the brown. We support y'all. And we ain't never worried about a motherfucker that's a side bitch in her own motherfucking marriage. As rich as she is, as pretty as she is, focus on that shit, not the indigenous. And honestly, her mother being Creole, motherfucker, that mean you are. What is Creole? Indigenous, African, and French, to my belief. So what the fuck is you saying? See, all that shit about crystals and I charge my crystals in the moonlight, all that bullshit. Cap. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend. Fuck what a miserable motherfucker got to say about you.
Beyonce, what the fuck? We're the enemy?
Aw, the Native Americans are mad. Aw, because they don't know their history. Listen, all that crying that you're doing, we're not stopping supporting Beyonce. Native Americans are not the reason why Beyonce is where she's at. Mexicans are not the reason why Beyonce is where she at. A lot of y'all are haters and y'all are jealous and y'all are envy. Y'all don't have y'all own Beyonce, so y'all want to tear her down. Learn your history on why she wore that shirt. All that crying and hollering is not going to change anything. Then this racist lady says that we came in boats. Whatever you say. I mean, I think Native Americans need to worry about why their women are going missing, right? Because most white men are likely to commit crimes against you. So I think you got bigger problems to worry about than Beyonce while she's almost worth more than $1 billion while you sit down and complain. We're not stopping supporting her, so just stop.
I think the thing that's really irking me about the Buffalo Soldiers discourse is simply that I don't understand why people are saying this. I have not seen one person blame every black person for the Buffalo Soldier. I haven't even really seen people besides black people making claims like, and I'm not saying that they're right, making claims about, like, just not being empathetic to the Buffalo Soldiers and how they were also a group of traumatized people, and the Buffalo Soldiers is a story of black trauma. So I don't understand why people are making it seem like natives are blaming every black person in this country for the Buffalo Soldier, when most are literally saying, no, I understand it. I just don't like when you're saying, like, well, but Native Americans owned slaves. Well, Native Americans fought for the Confederacy, when some did and some fought for the Union. When 5 tribes did participate in chattel slavery, and that history should never be dismissed or denied, but the vast majority didn't.
A lot of y'all are using this Beyonce situation as a tool, as a reason or a way to push your hateful agenda about the fact that you just don't like this woman and you want her to fail. And I don't want to fucking hear it in my comments talking about, no, we don't want her to fail. You want her to crash and burn. If she died, I believe a lot of y'all will be fucking happy. That's how deep some of y'all hate is for her. She could have had on a shirt with Chucky and his bride on it, and y'all would have easily jumped on her and been like, did you see that shirt that she wore? She is clearly endorsing serial killers. You were looking for a reason. You were willing to ride this coattail. And you know how I know you are? A lot of y'all videos, some of y'all ain't even saying nothing. You're just sitting there staring with, oh, I can't believe she wore that shirt. Because you know you don't know anything about it. You know you don't know any historical significance or facts about it. You just saw it was a trend and you could get views, so you jumped on it. Then a lot of y'all aren't listening to each other. I saw a video where a young lady said one thing, and then a dude had the audacity to duet or stitch her video and then say, that's why I'm about to shut you down right now. And he literally said the same exact shit that she said. So that proves that you're not even listening to each other. Y'all not even listening to each other. You're not having a conversation about this. You just said the same thing that she said. And then when you look at all his comments and all the shit that he liked, it was all talking about how people hate Beyonce. It was never about the Buffalo Soldiers. Never about the Buffalo Soldiers. In the one Native American comment that I could find, that person said, we are not offended by the shirt itself. We know the historical significance of this situation. It's just that one little part in there. And that was where they were called the enemies of peace. And that is what most actual Native Americans have been saying. And a lot of them are not offended at all. They're not bothered at all. It is simply black people who hate Beyonce and white women. Y'all was looking for any reason to go hard. And I am not a diehard Beyonce fan by no means. If she fuck up and make a mistake or say something fucked up, at the end of the day, I have to remember, these people popped out of a vagina the same way I did. What makes me think they're not capable of making mistakes or doing shit and being like, fuck, I didn't think that was right. Like sometimes, and I see a lot of y'all putting celebrities in a certain place. Sometimes y'all think, well, you're a celebrity. You shouldn't do that. How many of y'all to look at who some of y'all voted for? That one can fuck up as much as he been fucking up. The average singer and movie star can fuck up. Quit putting these people on a pedestal to think they can't make a mistake or they can't. Well, they should have known better. I mean, you should have known better too, but I mean, you still got like 3 baby daddies. Ain't with none of them. Shouldn't you have known better? It happens. People do things. People make mistakes. People think they're doing one thing right and they might not be. And honestly, I get why she wore it. It was Juneteenth when she wore it. Now, granted, she probably didn't see that passage on the back. Or she probably did. Who knows? Everything I noticed lately, everything Beyonce do got a hidden agenda behind it. But a lot of y'all are simply just jumping on this bandwagon because you do not fucking like this woman. And I would say on behalf of black people who understand their history and real Native Americans who also understand their history, don't take our history and try to ride it because you don't like this woman. Like, seriously. Don't do that.
Beyonce, what the We're the enemy?
Your frustrations are extremely valid. I'm not going to be one of those black folks who's going to sit here and, you know what I'm saying, tone police you and tell you you're not allowed to feel that way about the shirt that Beyonce had on. You're allowed to feel any type of way you want. I personally don't think that, you know what I'm saying, even though 5 tribes out of 600, you know what I'm saying, owned slaves back in those days that most of you guys wanted to own us or hate us. I'm not one of them that think that way. So I wanted to get that out the way, right? What I have a cause of concern for is calling black women out their name. God forbid if a black person called an indigenous person out their name like that, it would be a problem. We would be called anti-indigenous. We would be called all types of things. These comments under your comment section, them talking about her hair, using microaggressions, calling black Americans imports. Like, we get it. This is your land. It was stolen from you by the white man. We were brought here against our will. I get all that. But just remember, two things can be right at once. You can voice your frustration. You can voice your opinions. Just make sure you don't do so in a way where it gives everyone who is native, who is non-black Mexican, to be anti-black. Because at the end of the day, even though she is a capitalist billionaire, she is a black woman before anything. So just be very mindful of that. Because black people on the internet, we got to be mindful of that. We got to sit here and tiptoe and watch how we talk about indigenous people. It would be nice if we got the same respect. Respectfully.
The Buffalo Soldiers were not just brave black men in uniform. They were also tools of westward expansion used to fight indigenous people and secure land for the US government. So when Beyonce wears that shirt, the Buffalo Soldiers, and as well referred to the Native Americans as the enemy of peace, a lot of folks saw that as co-signing to historical violence. And I think to a certain extent, yes, Native people have every right to be very angry. And to this woman's point and statement saying that we weren't the one who jumped on ship to go to Africa and bring you back here in chains, it sounded like it was rooted in pain and frustration. It sounded like it wasn't the truth. It sounded like she just wanted to say something as a very good clap back to, Beyonce literally calling them the enemy of peace in the statement. Because while Native Americans were colonized and brutalized by European settlers, that doesn't mean that there weren't also instances where Native individuals and tribes participated in chattel slavery or allied with the Confederacy. Yes, it was very messy. Yes, it complicates a lot, especially the pure victim versus pure oppressor's narrative. But we all know that history is very, very messy. And I think that is what black people are trying to say in the response. And as well, I feel like this woman's frustration and pain is coming from the fact that there were still some black people who were standing up and saying, Beyonce didn't do any wrong. You guys are just looking for everything to cancel her. Not to erase the genocide that some native people went through, but to remind people that multiple truths exist at once. Yes, some native people owned slaves and some black Buffalo Soldiers fought against the indigenous communities. And according to what we read, both groups were victims of white supremacy. And if you guys remember, there was a creator online that called, Beyonce a propaganda. So many people are now believing that yes, she is a propaganda. And I feel like these people will really be happy right now seeing black folks, Native Americans, indigenous people, going back at it with each other, because it has always been their plan to divide and distract. Like, to an extent, if these people are mad, the whole thing of calling them the enemy of peace, they have every right to be mad. Some people are saying they are making this conversation looks like who suffers more. Like, it is not a competition. It's not a conversation of, sharing suffering. It's just literally highlighted some parts. And I saw a creator talk about how, some people are trying to stand on the part of history that hurts them. I really like to hear what you guys think about this conversation, because at the end of the day, white supremacy is the one that started this fire. White supremacy is the one that started, this conversation. If they never did what they did, I don't think we will be talking about what we are talking about today. So they are actually the root of all of this. Do you think people are overreacting to what this lady said? I really want to hear what you guys think in the comment section, and I am going to see you guys in the next one.